If you're watching this right now, we need your help. Yeah, you. As you know, we release the YouTube version of the show every week, every Sunday night. And while we do appreciate the support you guys have given us, we do have a slight problem. And the problem is that we're not getting enough likes on our videos. We got videos that have hundreds of views and only a handful of likes. We got videos that have thousands of views and only a handful of likes. So we're asking you to hit the like button right now before you even watch the video. Why is that? Because YouTube has algorithms, and those algorithms have rules to where it says if a video is not getting enough likes, they bury it. They don't recommend it to other people, and other people cannot find out about the most infamous podcast on planet Earth, Super Duty Tough Work. That, my friends, is why liking videos is so important. Please just hit the like button. We don't ask much of you all, and liking the video is totally free. It goes a long way to ensure that me and Illogic can continue to make content like this. So if you haven't done it yet, hit the like button. If you've done it already, thank you. On with the show. I think we're good to go. Super Duty Tough
Work.
Yeah. Back in the building.
In the place to be.
2021.
How my lighting? How my light? My light good?
Oh, you look great. You look great.
Looking nice and, shiny.
This your best ever. Well, I could tell you've been making some subtle improvements over there.
Yeah, man, I've been working. You know what I'm saying? You know how I do.
Yeah, I figured in time we would do it and you would just keep updating your formulas. You know what I'm saying?
Elevating. You know what I'm saying? See, we have formulas. What we do, we update our formulas,
It's like the formula's hand gesture. You know what I mean? It's like you trying to make a Rubik's Cube or some shit. It's the formula's hand signal. But yeah, we got formulas, we just trying to bring it more and more crispy, man. It's 2021. We've been doing, I think this is actually probably like our 5th year.
Yeah.
Technically, I think you joined January of 2016.
Yeah, we've been doing this a while, man.
Yeah. So, we only been doing video like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so this year, we were trying to make some slight changes to make things easier on everybody. And this is one of the changes, and so far ain't nobody complained. It looks pretty crispy. So it seems like it's been well received.
Word.
So this week, the most infamous podcast on planet Earth, Super Duty Tough Work. We're going to talk about MF Doom.
MF Doom.
May he rest in peace.
All caps. When you spell the man's name.
Exactly. A lot of people, typically people are going to do like tribute episodes. People are going to talk about, his music. And we want to make sure that we do it like we do it here.
Yeah, the Super Duty. You know what I'm saying? The Super Duty way.
Because we got
only how we would do it.
Exactly. Yeah. No one's going to do it how we would do it.
Right.
And so about, I don't know if it was even a year ago, but several months back, we did an episode called The Marketing Genius of Run the Jewels.
Right.
And that episode was pretty damn popular, especially among artists who saw stuff but didn't really understand the inner workings of what goes on behind the scene, right? And so with Doom, I think that understanding the marketing genius behind it leads a lot of insight into how smart he was.
Right.
And it's a lot of things that people may have saw but not really put all together to see how this equaled like the success he had.
Mm-hmm.
And so this episode is going to be called The Marketing Genius of MF Doom. And we're going to break down several traits, kind of like I do in the book. You know what I'm saying? The 10 traits. If you ain't got it, get it. But we're going to break down some traits and then we're going to get into it. And we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Right.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and want to grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping a culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry, but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against the team, But Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, we back.
Word.
Super Duty, Tough Work, bringing it to y'all. The marketing genius of MF Doom. If you're an artist, if you're a small business owner, entertainer, who cares? Whatever you do, if you're creative in any way, shape, or form, this episode should hopefully prove to be kind of helpful to you in understanding some of the genius that was MF Doom. So, the first thing we're going to talk about with Doom is reinvention.
Yeah.
Now, what newcomers or latecomers to Doom did not know was that Doom started his career as a member of KMD.
Mm-hmm.
And his name then was Zev Love X.
Yeah.
When you think about Doom's career, he was probably late teenager, early 20s when all of this was going on. This was like early 90s. You know what I'm saying? He makes
the first time I heard him was on the third base.
Third base. Yeah. That was his big cameo. And what people may forget about that era was all of the dopest new rappers kind of were introduced through these big cameos because features weren't as prevalent then. Facts. So you look at Nas on the barbecue. Yep. You look at Redman through EPMD's records. All of these dope rappers were kind of introduced through these big features with established rappers.
Even Jay-Z with Jazzo.
Yep, exactly. So like you go down the list, this is how careers were built back then. Mm-hmm. Same thing for, I guess MF Doom, but he was Zev Love X back then. And so basically Gasface, that song was supposed to be the battery that made the label pump their shit into, the next stratosphere. What ends up happening is that shortly thereafter that comes out, right before the record comes out, his brother, Sub Rock, gets killed, in a pedestrian accident, I think, like crossing the street or something.
Yeah, crossing the street.
Yeah. Then on top of that, they have these artwork problems with the label. Mm-hmm. And so for those of you who haven't seen the KMD album, it had like a depiction, a cartoon character of like a pickaninny, whatever character being hung. Black Bastards was the name of the album. Like I own it on vinyl, I think, and CD too, but that was a reissue. It never came out officially back then. This was in 91, 92. I think it was supposed to come out. Mm-hmm. Long story short, they end up getting dropped. You know what I'm saying? He experiences the politics of the industry firsthand. He's like, wow, this is pretty messed up. All I had banking on this is gone. It gets dropped from the label 93. He doesn't reappear again until 97, 98, stretching on Bobbito's stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And there's rumors of him popping up at ciphers and shit with the mask on, leading into that. But there's a quote where he talks about coming back as MF Doom, and he says, I needed another way to get a different point across. The Doom character is a little more serious than Zev is. He thinks deeper into things. And so you look at it like this man realized quickly in the music industry that typically, especially on major labels, you typically can only get one chance.
Right.
Like labels will look at you as like, they'll look at you as like being played out, even if your record never dropped.
Yeah.
Oh, you were signed.
Yeah, you owe news.
Yeah, you owe news. Yeah. Oh, wait, but I never dropped. So, and so it's a very what have you done for me lately kind of industry, and you combine that with the I don't want to say controversial business practices. We'll call it. It's a scenario where artists typically get one shot, industry either exploits them, and gets rid of them, or they don't get a shot like he did, not a true shot, and then they're kind of done. He saw this, and what he did, instead of trying to continue to push Zev Love X, KMD thing up the hill, he came back completely differently.
New identity, new name, new style, new sound, all of it. Everything was different.
Yeah. And one thing that people have to understand in the industry is that there are rules in this music industry that also apply in the world of branding in general. Like on this podcast, we've talked quite a bit about that book called 22 Immutable Laws of Power. Mm-hmm. And one of the things it talks about in that book is line extension and versus creating a new brand. And it talks, there's examples they give in there about RC Cola versus Pepsi, and how I think Pepsi was we want to make a root beer and want to Pepsi root beer. But they found that when they just made a whole new thing, it took off. It popped without the Pepsi name on it, right? Without the Coke name on it, Mr. Pibb popped. The same rule applies everywhere. Although artists, sometimes it's hard for us to see it. We don't want to kill our identities, our back catalog, our history. It takes a lot of balls to do that.
Yeah.
Like if someone say, okay, Illogic, you got to stop being Illogic tomorrow and start again. You'd be like, whoa, fam.
Hold up, sir.
I got to what?
You know how much work I put into this name?
Decades. Yeah. Right? It's scary, but Doom did that. Doom said, you know what? Fuck it, man. I have so much heartache and so much bad things associated with this old identity and this old thing and things I can't say showing my face like this. So I'm going to come back with a mask on. I'm going to come back doing shit completely different. And I'm going to talk about all of this shit that happened. And this thing goes even deeper than that, because I was just going through my bookshelf yesterday trying to find lessons on some of this thing. And this is one that's heavy. And this is just an excerpt from 48 Laws of Power. And it's called Recreate Yourself, Law 25. And this is just the opening segment of it. And it's kind of summarizes why it worked for Doom, why Doom was able to recreate himself so powerfully and kind of get this powerful restart in the industry. He had a very sharp understanding of this. But the excerpt goes like this. It says, do not accept the roles that society foists on you. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own image rather than letting others define it for you. Incorporate dramatic devices into your public gestures and actions. Your power will be enhanced and your character will seem larger than life.
I wonder if he read that. I mean, it sounds like the epitome of what Doom did when he came back with the mask on. It's the epitome of it's the epitome of it.
I had the exact same question you just asked. I had that.
Yeah, you're wondering, even the because coming back as Doom is a villain. You know what I'm saying? So all of the things that encapsulates, just being a villain. You know what I'm saying? The reinvention, because Zev Love X was fun, smiling in the videos, dancing around. Now you coming back as a villain.
Yeah.
The complete opposite.
Yep.
Of how you originally came into the world, into the industry. I'm wondering, he had to. He had to. There's no, it doesn't make sense for him not to have that idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When he came back, even if he had the idea to come back as something else before he read that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Even if he had the Doom idea before, it's yo, this makes so much sense.
This lays it out. It's just it's uncanny, right?
Yes. Yes.
Let me read a little bit more and I'll you'll let me know what you think after this part too. It says 3 ways to be the consummate chameleon. Number 1, you must learn to enlarge your actions through dramatic techniques such as surprise, suspense, the creation of sympathy, and symbolic identification. Number 2, You must be constantly aware of your audience, of what will please them and what will bore them. Number 3, you must arrange to place yourself at the center to command attention and never be upstaged at any cost. Because of his own, and so it goes into an example, because of his own obsessive interest in drama, Julius Caesar was perhaps the first public figure to understand the vital link between power and theater. He sublimated this interest by making himself an actor and director on the world stage. Even while dying, he kept a sense of drama. Drawing the top of his gown over his face, he let go of the clothes' lower part so that it draped his legs, allowing him to be covered and decent. According to the Roman historian Suetonius, his final words to his old friend Brutus was about to deliver the second blow were in Greek, and as if rehearsed for the end of the play. You too, my child? Understand this. The world wants to assign you a role in life, and once you accept that role, you are doomed. Your power is limited to the tiny amount allotted to the role you have selected or have been forced to assume. An actor, on the other hand, plays many roles. Enjoy that protean power. And if it is beyond you, at least forge a new identity, one of your own making, one that has had no boundaries assigned to it by an envious and resentful world. This act of defiance is Promethean. It makes you responsible for your own creation. Your new identity will protect you from the world precisely because it is not you. It is a costume you put on and take off. You need not take it personally, and your identity sets you apart, gives you theatrical presence. Those in the back rows can see you and hear you. Those in the front rows marvel at your audacity. The Promethean task of the powerful is to take control of the process, to stop allowing others that ability to limit and mold them. Remake yourself into a character of power. Working on yourself like clay should be one of your greatest and most pleasurable life tasks. It makes you, in essence, an artist creating yourself. In fact, the idea of self-creation comes from the world of art.
Wow. It's beautiful, man. Like just looking at it from the perspective of an actor plays many roles. He had many different characters. He wasn't always just Doom.
Yeah.
He was King. What was it? King how do you pronounce it?
Ghidra.
Ghidra.
Yep. Yeah, all those things. Yeah, we go into that later. Yep.
Yeah, like all of that.
Yeah.
Like it's wild. It's really crazy to really dig into that and then think about Doom. And it's like he had to read this. He had to.
I mean, he clearly was a reader. He clearly was a reader, you know.
Right.
Yeah, this is uncanny. As I was reading this, I was like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It's next level, man.
Yeah, it's next level because he straight up executed it in a beautiful way, you know. To all the creative people at home listening to this, you know, think about this. Many careers come to an end because maybe an idea has run its course.
Right.
Maybe an identity, maybe a way of looking at things has run its course. Maybe certain things only give you one mode of expression. And maybe as long as the people around you only see you as that, you'll never be able to achieve anything outside of that.
Right.
It seems to me like Doom knew that in order to get this new message across and to be successful in what the industry was becoming, he had to become something different.
Right.
And, you know, reinvention, that's the number one trait.
Yeah, it's wild. Like us as artists, we're so scared of that.
Yeah.
We're so scared to do something different under a different name, to do a different style, to do something different in order to reinvent ourselves because we're scared that we're not going to be accepted in the way that we were when we were that, you know, had that previous identity.
Right, right.
We're so afraid of that. And when you reinvent yourself, it takes a lot more work.
Facts.
The work has to go with the reinvention, because if you're reinventing yourself, then you don't have the accolades that your former self had.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have that pillar to stand on. Oh, I was, you know, in the third base video.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because now you can't see my face. You don't know who I am.
Yeah.
So I got to be something completely brand new. I got to start from scratch.
Yeah.
We scared of that, man.
Oh, totally. I mean, and like we said before, it takes a lot of balls to throw away all of that history that you could be leaning on to make people automatically legitimize you and start something completely different and do what he did, you know, and many artists are scared of it. And he's a perfect example of like taking chances, especially one that's as calculated as this can work. You know? So that's number one. Okay, we're going to go to the number two, you know, thing, you know, behind, you know, the marketing genius of MF Doom. And that is being an idea, not a person.
The Mask.
This is one we talked about with Run the Jewels, remember?
Yes.
We talked about how just the name Run the Jewels was an idea.
Yes.
The name by itself, forget Killer Mike, forget LP, the name meant something. It had this rebellious spirit of like, we're coming to take some shit. We're taking over. You should be fearful, right? Like it's like an action. And in that way, it becomes an idea. Yes. And then when you pair it with the symbolism, you know what I'm saying? The chain and the gun you know what I'm saying? It's like Run the Jewels. Their marketing, one of the most, you know, brilliant angles was that they are an idea to people now. Yeah. It's not that they're just two rappers. No.
And the fact that everybody knows what they look like, but they never put their face on their album covers either.
Right.
It's the symbol. It's the symbol. It's like the bat signal.
Yeah. You know what it means when you see it.
Right.
Even the bad guys who have never seen Batman know what the symbol means.
Right.
They've heard he kicks a lot of ass, but then they don't know till he right on their head. They're like, oh shit, that was Batman. Yeah. But they don't know, but they know the symbol. They know what it stands for. Similar to Run the Jewels, MF Doom did the same thing using the mask. See, his idea was, I'm going to come back instead of being Zev Love X, this guy who you can see his face. I'm going to hide my face. But not only am I going to hide my face, I'm going to let you know from the beginning, I'm a villain. I'm not here to be honorable. I'm just like all these other villains in this movie, because most great villains have duality. They have good, they have bad. They do certain things and we may not understand their motivations, but the best villains, you get why they did it. You'd be like, you know what? I kind of feel why he did that. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I get him. I understand.
Yeah. It's to the point now where now they're making movies about villains. The Joker is the entrance into a whole new era of understanding and celebrating the villains, which is like, okay, you get your own movie. Never before had that been the case. Like the villain was just kind of reserved and you had to kind of peep his duality. But he didn't get his own shit. Doom was kind of like that. Doom was like becoming a character allowed him to just flip shit and say, I'm not just a rapper anymore. I'm an idea. And also to further the idea, so now you're an actor, you're a symbol. Okay, well, what do you stand for? And his whole shit was like, I came to fucking get revenge on the industry that did me wrong.
Yeah, straight up.
10 years ago.
Straight up.
It's straight out of a fucking comic book.
And pay them back for what they did to the Cold Crush, man.
Right. Yeah. That was his whole thing. I'm enacting revenge on the music industry.
And he took the character so personally and so, like, even when the Doom posters were happening.
Yep.
Some people were upset, but some people was like, that's fucking genius because you're a villain. We understand. Yeah. Like, who else would do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it became an idea so much that when we heard the news, it took us a while to even believe that it was real.
Yeah.
Because Doom, he's an idea.
He's an idea. And you don't know. You never knew who was going to be showing up playing the shows anyway, right?
Exactly.
It's very similar to the movie V for Vendetta. When you look at, he started out a man, one man in a mask. By the end of the movie, the mask was now a symbol for everything he stood for.
Right.
This is a very similar thing with what Doom's done in the music industry in terms of, the mask is now just a symbol for his aesthetic, for his mindset, for his approach to music, for how he dealt with the industry, for who he clearly was fighting against. And the unspoken word about like how he became the idea is that because he was the villain, there was this understanding that he knew he couldn't play fair to win in the industry.
Right.
Like he couldn't have done what he did if he came back as the hero.
Nah, not at all.
You know, like there's certain things he did where it's like, you gotta be the villain to get away with that.
You see the hero's face a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know who the hero wants accolades.
They're accountable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he wasn't accountable to that shit. He was like, I'm the bad guy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
What you expect? You know what I mean? It's like the story of the frog and the scorpion. You know, when the scorpion, you know, asked the frog to take him across the river.
Right.
And then when he gets to the other side, the scorpion stings the frog, and the frog's like, why'd you sting me? I just saved your life. And he's like, I'm a scorpion.
This is what I do.
That's what I do. What you expect?
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of how Doom was in the industry, man. And you know, I think that was a key part of his marketing. And look at what was going on around him. The backdrop of all of Doom creating this idea of who he was, not showing his face, becoming his character, this villain, is that it's happening against a backdrop where independent artists and musicians in general are becoming more and more accessible.
Yes.
Our whole movement, you look at like Weightless, Rhyme Sayers, Adept Jux, we were like the personable guys.
Mm-hmm.
We were accessible. All of the social media shit made us, people could reach right out and shake our hands.
Yeah.
Touch us. What's up, man? Good to meet you. Want to talk to us? Whatever. Doom did the opposite.
Exactly.
And because he did the opposite and said, I'm not going to be Daniel Dumas. I'm going to be this idea. I can't do what y'all do. I'm not going to be here shaking hands and signing autographs. Show comes, when I get off stage, I'm going out that back door straight to the hotel.
Yeah.
I ain't going to be at the merch table. You know what I mean? And he was allowed to get away with it because we knew, like you're saying, he's a villain.
He's a villain.
It's an idea. He came to get the money and get the hell up out of here like villains do.
He came to get the bag.
That's what it's supposed to be. And, you know, and I think that played a large part of his success. You know, that's a great branding strategy to go against what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, because it makes you stand out. Like that's one of the things about being artists is we're always trying to find a way to stand out. And we're always trying to find a way to, you know, for people to pay attention to us in a world that's, especially in music, in a world that's so oversaturated anyway.
Yes.
And even when Doom was coming up, it was oversaturated already too.
Yep.
So he had to find something that would make him stand apart from everybody else. And it wasn't just rhyming good. Because he could rhyme. There's no question about he could rhyme.
Yep.
But what would make him stand out?
Yep.
And he found it.
Yep. He became one of one.
Mm-hmm.
None like him. Nothing like him. So that's number 2. And so, we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Where?
While I got y'all here, let me remind y'all about a few things we got back in stock on weightless.net right now. First being the King No Crown movie DVD. This is a double DVD, deluxe DVD. One DVD, first DVD is the movie. Second is all the extra features. That's back in stock. It was out of stock for a while. My movie, this is my first movie, came out in 2017. Free version, which is the clean versions on YouTube. This is the unedited version, dirty version, I guess, if you will, which is available now on weightless.net. Other thing, 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists. This book came out about 2 to 3 months ago. So my latest book. This book breaks down the habits, you know, the traits that you see across some of the dopest artists in hip hop. This is my 4th book. And so far, it's been my most successful. Amazing feedback on it. This book is here. If you missed out the first time, you know, it's like $14 on the store plus shipping. We got deals that come with bookmarks with it, free stickers, autographs, all of that stuff on weightless.net. That's in stock. Other thing, more importantly, we've reissued the Two-Headed Monster vinyl. This vinyl is it was red on the first pressing. This next pressing is yellow. This is just now hitting. So if you haven't got it, head to weightless.net and get it. Sold out the first time in like 2-3 months. It's doing pretty good this time, but get it if you missed it the first time. It's on yellow vinyl, comes with a download card. Also being restocked, has been reimpressed, is the Two-Headed Monster vinyl right here, clear vinyl, Two-Headed Monster album. Same thing, it sold out pretty fast in 2018, so we just repressed it here. But you can get that at waitlist.net, and there's prices, special bundle prices for all of this stuff. Now, what's already been in stock, which you probably already have if you don't, just so you don't know, King No Crown vinyl. It's red vinyl. King No Crown is double vinyl though. 2 pieces of double vinyl. But yeah, that's here. That's the record with Persevere on it. Dope record. Great Ideas Never Dies on this record as well. But that's here. And then last thing, which some of you may have or may not, is Vigilante Genesis EP, which is me and A$AP Rock on the production. This is available on vinyl too. But this one is blue vinyl. I ain't gonna open this up just to show you blue vinyl. Trust me, it's blue. But this comes with all the vocal tracks on one side and then the instrumentals, which are produced by A$AP Rock on the B side. So that's it. If you got this stuff already, thank you. If you don't, if you want to support, go to waitlist.net. Pick up your copy of any of these things on vinyl, any of the books, the movie. We have apparel as well. And thank you for your time. See y'all soon. Peace. All right, folks. Back in the building. Super Dute. Tough Work. The most infamous podcast on planet Earth. Live from Columbus, Ohio.
Word.
Hope y'all digging this. If you listen to this anywhere where there are comments, let us know. Hit us up on the gram. Let us know your thoughts about this episode, your favorite little bullet point and such. We hope that y'all dig these. We don't do these as often as we should, but this is a great one to break down.
Yes, definitely is.
And so let's get to the third bullet point about the marketing genius of MF Doom. And the third bullet point is what I will like to call organized confusion. By organized confusion, I'm referring to MF Doom having multiple names, multiple aliases throughout his career. So if you look, there's King Ghidra, obviously MF Doom, Metal Face, Metal Fingers, the Villain, Victor Vaughn, Zev Love X, Mad Villain, Danger Doom. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 9 right there.
And he didn't he do the Czar Face? Didn't they do one too?
Czar Face, was he on that record?
They did a Czar Face record with Doom, and I forget what it was called. I think it had Doom in it. I want to say.
Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah. So like, I'm sure I'm forgetting something. For so don't get offended at me for hardcore Doom fans if I forgot some aliases or anything like that. But I was watching an interview with him on his Red Bull interview, which is really dope. One of the first questions they asked was to him to explain the characters, and what he basically said was that each character is like an actor in a play, and each character has their own unique characteristics and their own personality, their own agenda, things they want, things that they struggle with, and therefore each character, each name gives him a different way to express himself and tell his story. This is super important because we spoke about what a lot of people do and a lot of artists struggle with in the industry. And one of the things they struggle with is, like we saying, starting something different, doing something under a different name, doing something where it's a complete departure from what you typically do.
Right. We
don't see a lot of artists doing that, not even sonically. Once an artist got a couple records under their belt, they kind of stay in that their lane, especially if it works and they're making money. You damn sure ain't gonna see no changes out of them, right? But what Doom did was what marketing books say you should do. Like marketing books, all the books I've read, they say that the worst thing you can do is put your name on everything.
Yeah, be the same. Like the first law of this book, it says, it's called the Law of Extensions. And it says,
The easiest way to destroy a brand is to put its name on everything. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. The law of extensions is that the easiest way to destroy a brand is to put its name on everything. We've all been guilty of that.
Yes.
You know, and I've had issues, times in my career where I did it and I was like, I should have done this under a different name. You know, from putting out instrumental records.
Yep.
Early in my career when people were expecting me to rap. To me putting out records where I'm singing on them and people expected me to rap. It's not that none of those records weren't dope. It's that it creates confusion in the marketplace to people who come into it expecting one specific thing from you.
Brand confusion.
Yeah, brand confusion, right? Doom brilliantly navigated all of that.
Right.
From jump. He started with the MF Doom, and every time he came out, he would introduce these different little characters, different little names who had a different little story to tell. They have different people featuring on his records. You know, he would collaborate with other people, tell a story differently. He would name that something different. It was never MF Doom and Danger Mouse.
Right.
It was Danger Doom.
Right.
Right. He didn't put his name on everything. It was incorporated in it, but it wasn't another MF Doom record, even though he was still rhyming on it all.
Right.
Mad Villain. You see what I'm saying? Like he didn't put his name on everything. He relied and he was comfortable putting everything in its own unique place. And in doing so, it created such a crazy benefit versus the people who struggle with that, such as myself. And I'm the first one to admit it. I'm going to tell a story about like when it really hit me, but I didn't understand. Like we always say, I wish I'd have read some of these branding books earlier in my career, right? But when I put out my chamber music record in 2004, I had come off the Soul Position EP, come off the Soul Position tour and album, right? 03. And then 04, I wanted to, and also the Weight Room record, but that was a production record. A little bit more confusion there because I had people saying, we thought you were going to rhyme over this. Why is this? Who's all these other people rhyming over this? Yeah, you got a couple solo songs, but I didn't do it under a different name. It was just a blueprint record, right?
Right.
Market confusion, brand confusion. But then when I did my first instrumental record, chamber music, I had a publicist from the UK at the time. Like we had one here in the United States and one from the UK. And I don't even know if I ever told you the story, but basically the publicist dropped me because my record was getting so many bad reviews from people who expected me to rap. He basically was like, Print, I can't even work this record no more.
Wow.
I'm getting killed out here. People are all expecting you to rap and I'm sending them this record. It sounds like some bugged out Prince Paul shit. I think it's really good. You know what I'm saying? You believe in it. But soon as it gets to these people's hands, based on what you've done the last 2-3 years, they don't know what to fucking think. And so some of them are just like mad. Yeah. And they're going to shit on your record, which hurts my reputation as a publicist. Like that shit hurt. I was like, damn. Yeah. But see, I didn't know then what I know now.
Right.
That maybe, Print, you should have done it under a different name.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have built that because if you'd have started building in 04, maybe it would have been proper by now. You know, so I put it off and looking at what Doom did, he did it from the beginning. We instantly know what King Ghidra is. Right. We instantly know who Victor Vaughn is. We know Metal Face. We know Danger. We know this stuff because he did it from the fucking beginning.
Yeah, from jump.
You know, and that created so many more opportunities for him to create things that worked completely separate from his main thing and not play out his main thing. You know, the benefits of this approach, word of mouth.
Yeah.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's better than two people debating over whether you dropped the new record under an alias or not? Who's Victor Vaughn? I don't know.
Yeah, who was Victor Vaughn? Yeah.
What? That's Doom? Really? Let me hear it. Y'all, and then it starts all of this thing where people are now having a new conversation about you.
Right.
Which is very hard to do in the music industry. You know, second benefit, you know, he never watered down a Doom name.
Right.
Because there weren't as many proper MF Doom albums.
Right.
You know, number 3, no one knew what to expect.
That was the best thing about it.
Yeah.
That was the best thing about it. Because I personally, I'm not as big of a fan of King Ghidra.
See?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I dig Victor Vaughn. I'm a bigger fan of Doom. But I'm not as big of a fan of King Ghidra. And Victor Vaughn, I'm not as big of a fan of him as I am of Doom.
Right.
And I know in my head that this is the same person. You know what I'm saying? I know, but in listening to the music, I understand the characters a little more. Yeah. Because I listen to the music. I take the time to digest the music. So I don't like certain characters. You know, it's just like in a movie. Yeah. You know Brad Pitt is playing this character. Yeah. And you don't like you might still like Brad Pitt as an actor. But you might not like that character.
Yep. Straight up.
That's how it is.
Yeah. And you know, you have to know that he knew that going in.
Exactly.
Like, hey, I want some weird shit over here every now and again. I want to still be able to do that, but I don't want to fuck up the MF Doom sound with that. So let me just do my weird shit under this Victor Vaughn thing. You know, I want to work with some other, let me do it under this name. So if you like, you know, the Danger Doom thing, you got that. You know, if you don't like, you know, Danger Mouse production, then don't worry. I'll be back with this thing over here later. You know, but all of this is brilliant marketing. Most artists have no idea what the benefit of having those different, you know, buckets is.
Right.
They just think that everything I do has to automatically be put under my name. And there's no way that I can push all these different sounds without this main thing. And it's like, nah, man, he put on pretty much like a master class in line and creating new brands as opposed to line extension. And it's brilliant, man.
Yeah, it's super brilliant. And it's scary. Like, cause I personally, I'm working on some different things and I've been thinking about, should I put this under a different name? Yeah. Cause it's not technically the Illogic brand. Yeah. With what I'm doing. You know what I mean? So should I, but then I'm scared to take that step.
But you're not alone.
Right. Yeah, because I know, I know the things that you've been dealing with over the years. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a hard thing, man. It's a hard thing.
Yeah. That fear paralyzes us, man. You know, like, I think, you know, and that's some reason why, you know, I did a couple instrumental records, and that's something I've been really thinking about with my instrumental projects. Like, when I get back to putting out these instrumental records, why don't I just try to put them out under a different name?
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking with my instrumental project that I'm working on, and some other projects that I'm working on that are outside of my normal purview. Yeah, it's like, why not?
If people are gonna like it, they're gonna like it, right?
Right.
But the brand confusion that you create, like, the worst thing to me is someone clicking on a record of mine and expecting me to be spitting. And it hit me like, yo, you wasn't even rapping on there though. Like, yeah, like, damn.
It's a Blueprint record. What you doing over here?
Yeah. No. Like, dog, it's just beats. We want to hear that shit. You know, and I'm just like, I gotta explain this shit to y'all. But it's my fault.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault.
It's not their fault. We created a brand.
Yep.
We created brands. Our names are brands.
Yes.
And there's expectations that come with that brand.
Facts.
And if we don't fulfill those expectations, we can't be mad when people are upset. We can't be mad that they don't like it.
Come on.
Because they expect what comes with the brand. If you buy something that has the Coca-Cola name on it and it don't taste like Coca-Cola, then you're not going to be happy.
Shit tastes like grape soda. You know?
Right, you're not going to be happy, bro.
You be pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's the struggle, but that's the beauty, you know. And I'm glad we're breaking this down because some people may have never even known that we feel that way about our own careers, you know, about side projects we have. Because I've always been very eclectic in the music I've done, you know, from producing for you, different than mine stuff, and but I've always struggled with that.
This is giving me confidence though. Straight up. Like doing this episode.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah. I think I'm gonna do that.
And what can hurt to try?
Right. Especially if it's something different and outside of what you normally do. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
You're taking a chance anyway, doing something new and different anyway.
Thank you. So yeah, that was number 3. Okay, let's get down to the 4th bullet point, about the genius marketing of MF Doom. And the 4th point is that Doom made the industry work for him.
Yes.
Now, I like to call this the RZA technique.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to read an excerpt. This is an excerpt of an interview that I had from the RZA. It didn't fit my book, but I had always loved a quote. And as I was doing some research for this episode, this thing popped right into my mind. And so this is an excerpt of a interview from RZA from like 96 or 97 or something. And they're basically asking him like, what was he seeing in the industry and how did that impact his approach to it when he came back? Because let's remember, the RZA had a record deal as Prince Rakim that didn't go well before Wu-Tang.
And reinvented itself.
The GZA had a record deal, his cousin, right? Or whatever, before the Wu-Tang Clan that didn't go well. So very similar to MF Doom, right? So I'm going to read this excerpt of what the RZA was saying about their return and how he wanted to do it different. He says, "My idea was to have the industry work for me because I had a bad experience in the music industry back in 1989 with the Prince Rakim and Tommy Boy thing. It's always whoever's hot, the record company wants to model you to that person. 1990, 91, who was the hottest MC in the world? MC Hammer, Young MC, those type of guys. And I'm from New York, and we not like that, nah, I mean? We can't dance a leg, yo. So when I came in with a whole album of crazy hardcore music, I made one song for the girls based on my own thing. It was a bad decision. GZA was facing the same decision at Cold Chillin'. So when I came back in 1992, 93, I had my own idea. I understood how the game worked. I'd been around a lot of rappers just from being in the industry. I'd been around people from KRS-One to Chuck D, Big Daddy Kane. I'd seen egos that came with it, the mentalities. I also seen the mistakes they was making. I had a friend of mine. His name was Prince Paul, one of the producers of our time, who was the only person who took the time to talk to me, work with me and show me things and tell me information that I needed to know. It was his information that taught me, you know what? I'm going to try it this way. I'm going to switch it up. So when I finally did sign the Wu-Tang Clan at Loud Records, I was thinking in my mind, yo, we going to give you the group, but you can't have the individuals, because I explained it to him. It would be hard for him personally. These guys will come up here and tear this office up because it ain't enough money for everybody. So just let us do our thing. You do your thing and we'll go. And it's going to help you and it's going to help us. And it's going to help everybody. My plan was to get the industry to work for me, to have Def Jam, who was in competition with Loud Records, who was in competition with Elektra and Geffen Records, to all work for the sound of Wu-Tang, work for hip hop, and eventually work together, because they don't work together. For some reason, it's like, who got the bigger balls? One year, they all did work together. The first year that they all did work together on a campaign was 1995. All 4 major labels combined and formed the Wu-Tang family tree and put in all the retail stores across the country. Each label doubled their sales. And even for the first album called Enter the 36 Chambers, which was 2 to 3 years old, it had a 40 to 60% spike in sales based on that move. That was my goal. I achieved it, I think.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
Geniuses, man.
Genius. And if you look at what the RZA was saying, how he got these labels to work together, what he basically did was he didn't commit to any one of them long term.
Right.
Right. Now look at what Doom did. Fondle 'em Records, Stone's Throw Records,
Yep.
Lex Records, Epitaph Records, Rhyme Sayers Records, Elektra Records, all these different labels spending marketing dollars on a specific Doom alias.
Yeah.
The industry was working for MF Doom.
Right.
He didn't work for the music industry.
Yeah. It's fucking amazing. I mean, like, when you break it down, like, because honestly, I've never thought of it in this way either.
Yeah.
You know, breaking it down the way that it's being broke down today.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think of all these things working in conjunction, but as they're being broke down, you see like, oh, yeah, he did do that. Oh shit, he did do that.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, he did that too. Like, all of this stuff works together, and that's why Doom is Doom.
Yeah.
That's why you got Seth Meyers on NBC late night asking Killer Mike about MF Doom and saying he's one of my favorite MCs. What's your thoughts on MF Doom? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the whitest dudes in the fucking United States.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was a Doom fan for some reason or the other.
Yeah, like Doom learned, just like the RZA learned, just like the GZA learned, that when you go into these situations and you put everything into one major label deal, if it doesn't go right, you're done. And just like the RZA had to reinvent himself, the Genius and the Wu-Tang, MF Doom had to do the same thing, but he could not be loyal to any label anymore.
Right.
Because he saw, I know how y'all are. Y'all ain't shit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just give y'all one joint. He would brag about, I only did this for the advance on the records. He had lines about that. I just did this for the back end. I just did this for the front end. He was the villain. He was just telling you. He was telling you. He was sticking these labels up.
Straight up. Oh man.
You know, and I'm gonna read another quote from 48 Laws of Power. And this is not commit to anyone. And it says, "It is the fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you." Yeah, there's a lot there, man. And but again, that's another joint where like the parallel between what he did and what's in that book is uncanny.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Yo.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, it's one of those things. Like, now it's gonna make me listen to Doom in a completely different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understanding this and breaking this down like this. Now when you go to the different aliases,
Yeah.
it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. Like,
This
listen,
is blowing my fucking mind. It's blowing my fucking mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Feed Discourse says, "Do not commit to anyone, but be courted by all. If you allow people to feel they possess you in any degree, you lose all power over them. By not committing your affections, they will only try harder to win you over. Stay aloof, and you gain the power that comes from their attention and frustrated desire. Play the Virgin Queen. Give them all hope, but never satisfaction. You must learn the tricks that will enhance your image, emanate mystery and desirability, never discouraging anyone's hopes, but never yielding." How many labels wanted to sign him to multi-album deals?
Come on, man.
Never
You
did
already
it.
know.
Right?
You already know.
When you hold yourself back, you incur not anger, but a kind of respect. You instantly seem powerful because you make yourself ungraspable rather than succumbing to the group or the relationship as most people do. As your reputation for independence grows, more and more people will come to desire you, wanting to be the one who gets you to commit. The moment you commit, the magic is gone.
Right.
You become like everyone else. People will try all kinds of underhanded methods to get you to commit. They will give you gifts, shower you with favors, all to put you under obligation. Accept the gifts and favors if you so desire, but be careful to maintain your inner aloofness. You cannot inadvertently allow yourself to feel obligated to anyone. Encourage the attention, stimulate their interest, but do not commit at any cost. The goal is not to put people off or make it seem that you are incapable of commitment. You have to bend to their attention occasionally, then, but never too far. Desire is like a virus. If we see that someone is desired by other people, we tend to find this person desirable too. Like the Virgin Queen, you need not stir the pot, excite interest. Oh, you need to stir the pot, excite interest, and lure people with the possibility of having you.
Wow. He read the whole book, man. He studied it. He had to. Come on, man. He had to. Come on. There's no way the parallels are so. I mean, come on. Come on.
It's crazy, right?
Come on.
Dog. I was going through this shit, you know, because I actually like legit have been, I mean, you can tell by my notes, I've been preparing for this joint.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going through it. I'm just like, wow.
Yes.
This could literally be a whole book.
Yes.
Just the stuff, like how deep this stuff goes. And you compare like his actions and how we handle things. Like you could legit write a book about just this thing that we're covering today.
That's crazy. It's crazy.
He mastered it. All those labels spending marketing dollars on him. He didn't give none of them no more than one record. Two records.
None.
You know, I'll get two. That's it. One or two. You know what I mean? And he was serious about his money. Why you think there wasn't no more Mad Villain records?
Exactly.
Couldn't get the money he demanded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And he should have. Because he should have.
That record was huge.
He was going to make it back.
Yeah.
He was going to make it back.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know. But yeah. So that's number 4. Okay. We'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Work.
For the last year, I've been telling y'all, new book coming soon. The new book is coming soon. The new book is coming soon. Proud to let y'all know the new book is finally here. It's pre-ordering right now on waitlist.net. The new book is titled The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists, and it will be out officially on Tuesday, October 13th. In the book, I use interviews, album lyrics, anecdotes, and everything else I could get my hands on to reveal 10 traits that have defined the success of some of the dopest hip-hop artists of all time. From Jay Dilla to Rock Marciano to Murs to Mr. Dibbs to 50 Cent to the RZA, Slug from Atmosphere, Evidence, Tech 9, De La Soul, and many, many, many more. If you rock with me, I need you to go to waitlist.net right now and pre-order your copy. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.
All right, folks. Yeah. We back. I hope y'all are digging this episode. This one might be a little longer than usual, but I think y'all are going to get a lot out of this, you know.
We ain't done a long one in a while anyway.
Yeah, we've been on some 45, 35.
Yeah, we've been keeping it short. So, you know, they in.
Yeah, we gonna hit y'all with this opus, you know what I mean? So y'all know what Super Duty do. All right, man. So we got number 5. Number 5 thing, you know, bullet point that we want to talk about for the genius marketing of MF Doom is third person writing. Now, the first time, like I always kind of peeped it, but I remember the first discussion I had about this was on tour in 2004 with Idea and Abilities. And we were talking about MF Doom. And Mikey was like, yo, the shit that's the freshest about him is that he always writes in third person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was
I've done this before, but I don't have characters to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I say he and things, and I'm talking about myself, but I don't have characters with names to talk about.
Yeah, like if you go through, and I challenge those at home to go through and pull up your favorite verse, MF Doom verse, you know, from Genius or whatever, and look at the lyrics. And what you're going to see is that he almost never uses the word I in his writing. He typically preferred to write in third person. And we talked about earlier, because he was an idea, because he had established these characters, it brung this entire world together. He was
like the narrator.
Right. He was narrating his own characters that he created. And that kind of gave it almost like a comic book, Marvel Universe kind of feel. Like this guy is telling us what this dude is doing and what he's going through and what he's saying, but he's never saying I.
Right.
We never see his face. We just know the mask, right? And this is important because think about how few writers in hip hop write in third person.
Right.
Everything in hip hop is about I fucked this broad, I drank the beer, I went on tour, I smacked this dude, I shot up the club. It's I. Which to the point where, like, you know, dudes is snitching on themselves, going to jail for all this first person testimony they doing on their albums.
Facts.
And so when you listen to Doom's story, he has a separation because of the use of third person. Very rarely do you hear I. And I'm just gonna read off, you know, like this is all caps, for example. I'm gonna read these lyrics and I want y'all to listen to this at home. And you're gonna know that, listen to the very few times he talks about himself and how many times he talks about third person, you know. So nasty that it's probably somewhat of a travesty having me. Daily told the people, you can call me your majesty. Keep your battery charged. You know it won't stick, yo. And it's not his fault you kick slow. Should have let your chick hold your sick glow. Plus nobody couldn't do nothing once he let the brick bow. And that's a bunch of snow. The beat so butter, peep the slow cutter. As he uttered the calm flow. Don't talk about my moms, yo. Sometimes he rhyme quick. Sometimes he rhymes slow. Or vice versa. Whip up a nice slice of verse pie. Hit it on the first try. Villain, the worst guy, third person. Spot hot tracks like spot a pair of fat asses. Shots of the scotch from out the square shot glasses. And he won't stop till he got the masses and show them what they know. Through the flows of hot molasses, do it like the robot to head spin the boogaloo. Took a few minutes to convince the average boogaboo. It's ugly, like the look at you. It's a damn shame. Just remember all caps when you spell the man's name. Blah, 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 blah. You get the gist here though, right?
Yeah, but all caps when you spell the man's name. He didn't say when you spell my name.
See?
When you spell the man's name.
The man's name.
Yeah.
The man's name. Same thing. Go through any of his verses at home. You'll find like this. There was maybe one I in there, one me in there.
Yeah.
And that is brilliant marketing because it drives home this concept. It's like staying in character when you're an actor. You know, the test of acting to us is rhyming. That's how we play out and tell our stories and take on these roles and talk about what we're doing. He stayed in the Doom character so much so that he rarely would say I. It wasn't I to him. You know what I'm saying? Like the most villainous stuff he was doing was he did that.
Yeah, I'm not Doom. He's Doom.
He did that.
Yeah, that's Doom. That's Victor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not Doom.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's wild, man. But that allowed him to stand apart, you know, from all of his contemporaries. There's really not a single person who writes like Doom.
Right.
In all of hip hop. And that's because of that. Yeah, he's got the clever wordplay and he's got the references and he's clearly well read and he's technically a dope rapper with a dope voice, right? He's got all of those things. But this is something that no one else has managed to do because they don't have the whole thing behind it. Yeah. You can't just jump in and do this without the personas, without all of the things that people see you as like a villain. The mask, the separation you have to rhyme third person, not just technically, but to have these stories all mapped out and look at them as separate from yourself.
Yeah, because even on the Mad Villain record, he refers to Mad Villain as them.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Not
on
us.
the record. Yeah, not us.
Yeah.
It's them. Or he refers to Mad Villain as the name Mad Villain.
Yep.
He hardly ever says I or he. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really dope because even in the intro, like how he introduces all of the characters that's going to be part of the show.
Yeah.
Because he says Quasimodo's in the house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm your host, the supervillain. You know what I mean? Like he says King Ghidorah's in the house. Victor Vaughn. Like he introduces all of the characters.
Yep.
So you already know.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. And for those of you at home, it's a good lesson in branding, because you do want to think about this stuff in terms of like, what am I doing that separates me from my peers?
Mm-hmm.
Because guys like Doom, you listen to this is not an accident.
Right.
This is someone who really understood how to set himself apart, and he had a philosophy for how to do that. And then when he got on records and when he picked up the pen, he executed it.
Yeah.
How he wrote was a reflection of his philosophy for how he wanted to build himself up and what he wanted to present to the people. And he built his own universe. It was almost like a Marvel universe of characters, of heroes and villains for him to kind of use and tell stories. But it wasn't, I did this, because I can only do so much.
Right.
You know, like if I tell you I went skydiving, if I tell you I robbed a bank, you might be thinking, Blueprint ain't robbed no bank. This dude be making beats all day and podcasting.
Right.
But I tell you, he robbed it.
Mm-hmm.
Printnificence robbed that bank. I didn't rob no banks.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the crib. Printnificence, though, he wild boy.
He wild boy. He be out there in them streets.
Yeah. I didn't do it. It was him. You know, but yeah, that's number 5. Okay, number 6, and this is the last official one, and I hope y'all are getting something out of this. You know, the marketing
so
genius of MF Doom, and the number 6 thing that the bullet point about him is his unique sampling style.
Yes,
this was the thing that jumped out to him immediately, that separated him immediately upon first listen. You got to understand that. Let's go back to the mid 90s. Late 90s. This is the keep it real era of hip hop. There have Timberlands. You got to be using the original records. You got to sample from this thing. You got to use these breaks. You got to use that. We were in a point in time where there were a lot of unspoken rules in hip hop.
Right.
We all were policed by them, whether we knew it or not. You can do this. You can't do that. You can do that. Y'all can't do that on stage. You know, you can't do that on record. Like all these rules. And here comes this guy, MF Doom, not showing his face. And what is he doing? He's sampling 80s R&B, 90s R&B.
Blatantly.
Records that we used to dance to at the prom. Like records that used to be on, you know, late night, what they call it? Quiet Storm radio.
Yeah, the Quiet Storm.
Quiet Storm. You know what I mean? Listen to slow jams. He was making beats out of slow jam tapes.
Yeah.
Not even using drum breaks. Another element of this thing. He was not like in hip hop. The rule was, okay, you got to use breaks. You know, if you're going to use that, impeach the president, you got to go to impeach the president. You don't go to the drums off of Primo sampling Impeach the President on Unbelievable and loop the Unbelievable drums that have Impeach the President in them and rap over that.
Right.
That's against the fucking rules. Doom did all that shit.
Yeah.
He didn't care. He'd steal your drums and he never stole your breaks. If you program the drums as original, he'd take your program drums. Samples in them and all. Yep. Didn't care if it had a vocals. I'm taking that. You know, like me and Groove refer to those types of records as your mama's records. Doom made a whole classic album out of his mama's records.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna read down some of these samples just off of Operation Doomsday. This is basically in order. So let's start with the first track, Doomsday. Sade sample. Then you got the drums from BDP, You're Slipping.
Right.
Looped up. They programmed them. He just looped them. Took them from them. It's not even a break. Rhymes Like Dimes. Find 100 Ways. James Ingram.
Yeah.
We know that one.
Yeah.
One of
I
the
just
most...
listened to that. I just listened to Rhymes Like Dimes and listened to the James. And it just amazes me how he hooked it up.
I can't believe he heard it to this day. Every time I hear that, I'm like, how did you hear that?
Right.
I would have never thought. Yeah, because it's the rules. It's like you don't be chopping up no solo and no James Ingram record. No one even wants to admit they like that song.
Right.
Let alone I'm gonna make some fire to it.
Yeah.
That's so track 3, The Finest, SOS Band, 80s R&B, This is my brother's R&B records. Like, come on, man. Just Be Good to Me and The Finest. You know what I mean? It's like The Finest drums. He just looped that shit up a couple different parts. Go With the Flow. The Spinners. And then the drums are Cool G Rap. Truly Yours drums. He just took them. They got the drums already had a vocal sample in them that said, "Oh, here we go. Let's go with the flow." Did he take it out? No, he did not.
He the villain.
He left the "Here we go, let's go with the flow" from Cool G Rap Truly Yours. He left that whole intro of theirs in there. And then he just threw the spinners on top of it. And it just sounds fly. Red and Gold. He sampled R&B group, 80s and 90s R&B. The Deal, Babyface's original group. Shoot 'em Up Movies is the name of the song. I met my baby at the shoot 'em up movies. But it sounds fly. See, I was raised at a time where I thought we wasn't allowed to do this.
Yeah, man. I even to this day, since I'm new, there's still certain records that I'm like, can I sample this? Like, am I allowed to do this?
Yeah. Because I got all these records. I just didn't think I was allowed to sample The Deal. You know, then you got Hey, which is the Scooby-Doo sample. You know what I mean?
Man, you put me on, man. I'm so glad you put me on. Like, for all y'all that don't know, Blueprint put me on to Doom. I was not fucking with Doom. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And he playing this 12-inch. It had Hey on it. It had Gas Draws on it. And I want to say Rhymes Like Dimes, maybe?
Yeah, I don't even know. I had all this shit though. I had all the Fondom singles. I had the vinyl.
Yeah, man. Like, yo, like when I heard Hey,
that beat.
Man. What?
Yeah, man. The next track, The Mic. I don't know the sample on this one, but the drums are the Microphone Fiend samples from the outro Microphone Fiend by Eric B. and Rakim. The boom, 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 the microphone.
I didn't even know that.
See?
Now I'm thinking about it because I just listened to the album yesterday.
Yeah.
That is the drums.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
With he left the vocal sample and the microphone Fiend. It's still in there. He just takes the Fiend part out. You know, and then you got Deadbit, which is the Atlantic Star group. Always, I will love you so always. And then he hits you with the Isaac Hayes Walk On By sample, sped up to 45. Then he comes with, you know, drums from BDP, Super Ho drums from BDP's first record. You know, their program drums, he just looped them up. And that's where he gets the super, because they use their songs called Super Ho because they had that sample, Super. And he just kept the super in there and kept their drums. Yeah. He is a super. Right. And so, like, that's just one record. But that record broke so many damn rules that you had to talk about it.
Right.
Nothing sounded like that. When I heard that, my mind was blown like, damn, how was he getting away with this?
Right. And it's so dope.
It's so good. Like,
yeah, it's so good.
I be throwing these records away, not buying them, never thinking this is this whole style by itself.
Yeah.
If you would just let go of these rules, and that's one of the biggest gifts of Doom. It's like, yo, the ability to think outside of the box to make some shit that other people wouldn't. He's got a billion examples of this in his catalog where he's just jacking drums off of somebody's program drums, leaving certain parts in there to where it sounds kind of sloppy and offbeat, taking a sample that you never would have thought, and it just sounds fucking cold as shit.
Yeah. And
it created a whole new style, and it immediately made it to where you could not compare him to anyone.
Facts.
There's not a single motherfucker you can say, oh, hey, Doom, he sounds like, no. To this day, who sounds like Doom?
No one. No one.
It takes such a unique combination to do all these things he did and do them all at a level that just was like, the execution is crazy, you know? So that's like the 6 points we got planned. Let me see how much time we got. I'm going to try to sneak in. We got a couple bonus joints I'm going to hit y'all with, though, for the people at home, you know? Let me think. So this ain't no super long joint. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. All right, so this is going to be number 7, but this is a bonus. And the number 7 bullet point behind the marketing genius of MF Doom is the cultivation of the air of mystery.
Facts.
And as we mentioned earlier, we came up at a time when, like, rappers were unknown. Like the rappers we grew up, we never really got to meet EPMD or Rakim. We barely saw interviews with them. It might have been a little 30-second interview when they were on Rap City. There were no long form interviews on anybody. Now, the thing though is like we said, by the time Doom emerges, industry is changing. The internet
everybody got to show their face.
Everybody got to show their face.
Everybody show their face.
What social media on? I'm gonna follow you there. Everybody's telling their story. Everybody's telling as much as possible to connect with fans. In the midst of all of this, Doom cultivated an air of mystery because he basically did what all the rappers did when he first started.
Right.
Which was, I'm not gonna be accessible like them. I'm not gonna tell y'all my intentions. I'm not gonna tell y'all when the album coming out. You just gonna see a release date. Or it's gonna be in the stores. I'm not gonna tell you who I'm in the studio with. You gotta guess. I'm not gonna tell you producing it. I'm gonna tell you who guest featuring on it. I'm just gonna do it. You're gonna fucking like it or not. And this shit created like a air of mystery that when you look at it against a greater backdrop of what we do, makes them stand out even more.
Yeah.
It's genius in an environment where everybody is always telling and exposing more about themselves. He went the opposite direction.
Yeah, because it got to a point where you didn't know when it was going to happen. But when you saw Doom's name, you press play.
Yep.
You don't know what it is. You don't know who produced it. You don't know nothing, but you know it's Doom.
Yep.
I'm about to press play and see what's going on.
Yep. Yeah. He cultivated that.
Yeah.
He cultivated that. And he would not have had that had we been hanging on his every word on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he ran any of his social media profiles. I don't think he ever really gave anything personal about himself, which is like probably why the news of his passing was so weird. Because typically someone will make an official statement when it happens. It won't be kind of cryptic. It'll be like, hey, he died today of this, X, Y, and Z,
the fact that he could pass away 3 months ago.
Yeah, nobody fucking.
And nobody knew.
Nobody told.
Nobody said nothing.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm sure people knew.
Yeah.
But they protected that because the idea.
Yeah. I mean, he could walk around without his mask on and nobody recognized him.
Yes.
I think I saw him do it a couple times where I was like, yo, I was standing next to him. I think it might have been at like one of the sound set shows. And I think he had showed up and he didn't have his mask on at some point. And like some promoters or something was in there and somebody was talking. And it was like, yo, we are so excited to see him at Doom. And they're talking to everybody like they don't know Doom's.
Just standing right there.
Yeah, they don't know. No idea. That shit gave him a sense of peace to be able to walk the streets, being that popular. Nobody would know like, oh no, that's him without the mask. People wouldn't think. They couldn't figure it out, man. The air of mystery. And the last bonus is the collaborations. He didn't do a lot of like producer collaborations. We produce, the Mad Libs and Danger Dooms.
Right.
Like he fucked with big producers, but you got to look at it when he already has a universe of characters that people are interested in seeing and hearing, and he's doing different records sonically among those characters. One of the dopest things he can do to expand his universe, so to speak, is to collaborate with a Mad Lib.
Right.
To collaborate with another producer. Did he need those other producers, so to speak? Nah, not necessarily. But it's not about need. It's about like creating something more powerful.
And the thing that made it dope with Madlib is Madlib had his own host of characters.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Kindred spirits.
So that made it so much more fresh. Like I was talking about earlier. Like he was saying, like yesterday's new quintet is here. Like all these different things that Madlib had under his umbrella.
Yep.
Like they were very much kindred spirits, which is why Mad Villain is probably one of his most popular projects because he got with somebody that understood him.
Yep.
In that way.
Yep.
And it made it so much more
thing.
powerful. Yeah. Quasimodo, all of that.
Yeah, man. So like those things, some of us, the collaboration thing is like, you have to understand that when you do collaborations that people are excited about, it expands your universe, expands your fan base. You know, it gets people to hear you doing something different than you would normally do. And like we said, Madlib and MF Doom's careers were defined by that already, by doing records, you know, Loop Pack record, Quasimodo records, Yesterday's New Quintet. Like these are just aliases, things that he was doing. And doing the Mad Villain record just gave him another one. You know, and it gave Doom another one, and a way to expand his fan base and to bring together two fan bases who kind of probably were already fucking with each other, you know, just due to their similarity being rhymers and producers, and it coming together and making this fucking classic record together. And it just blew up. It blew up. And, you know, that's it.
That's a beautiful episode.
That's it, man. You know, so if you're at home, you know, let us know in the comments what y'all think. If this is your first time checking us out, let us know what y'all think. Please go back. We invite y'all to go back and listen to some of our older episodes. Check out our Run the Jewels breakdown. Check out any of our stuff, man. If you're an independent artist or creative in any way, this podcast is for you. So I'm going to read back these things. Number 1 was Reinvention. Number 2, hold on, my mouse is slipping here. Number 2 was Being an Idea and Not a Person. Number 3 was Organized Confusion, Different Aliases, Multiple Names. Number 4, He Made the Industry Work for Him. Number 5, Third Person Writing. Number 6, Unique Sampling Style. Number 7, which is the bonus joint, An Air of Mystery. And number 8, bonus joint, Collaborations. So that's it for this week, man. I hope y'all dig this episode, man. You know, it was our pleasure to try to present this, and, you know, go listen to some MF Doom, and hopefully this will make y'all listen to it a little bit differently.
Definitely,
you know,
for me.
and hear some things in it that you wouldn't have heard otherwise. So we appreciate y'all, and thank you.
Peace.
All right.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work.